through most of his life, Chris was a whole lot like a 1-year-old child. He couldn't walk, he couldn't talk, couldn't change himself, couldn't feed himself. And our mom and dad did those things for Chris, for him, for all those years, you know, which is another whole story in itself. But anyway, though, even though Chris kind of had all those things going against him as he was growing up, there was one thing that he loved more than anything else in the world. And anybody that knew Chris knew this thing about him. And that one thing that he loved more than anything else in the world was if you were to come over to our house, into our living room and sit on our couch, Chris was going to find a way from wherever he was in the house to crawl across the floor because he couldn't walk, but he could crawl. He was slow, but he could do it. And he'd crawl across the floor, he'd get over to the couch, and he was strong enough to pull himself up onto the couch. And he'd get up onto the couch, and he'd start scooting over a little closer to you, and then a little closer, and then a little closer. And finally, Chris's ultimate goal every time was he just, you know, wanted to just snuggle. You know? Just snuggle. That's just who Chris was. That was just what he did, and that was just how he rolled. You know. And so, and I mean to tell you, it didn't matter who you were. If you sat on that couch, he was going to find you, and you're going to get snuggled on. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you were a little old man like Uncle Sam at the time. It didn't matter if you were a brand new tiny baby like our son David when he came into the world. It didn't matter to Chris if you were an expectant mother, a teenager, a parent, or if you yourself had special needs. From the time he was little until his last year with us, this is what he did every single day. And so anyway, shortly after Chris passed, it was about a month or two, out of the blue one day I got a phone call. It was a local school teacher, and he called, and he had some 5th graders in his PE class not being nice to each other. He said, would you be willing to come share Chris's story about how he treated people as a type of kindness presentation for his kids? And I said, Mr. Arrington, I don't know about that. Yeah, I've never done anything like that. I don't know how to do that. I don't want to get all emotional in front of your kids. I just don't think that would work out really well. And he just kept working on me and working on me and working on me. So eventually gave in, go down to the school. Dad goes with me for support. We get down to the school, and Dad was off to the side. He snapped a picture that day. And we even gave Chris, for the kids, we gave Chris's program a name. We called it Silent Strength, because even though Chris couldn't talk, he was very strong. And because no matter how bad life treated him, he always chose to be kind to everyone else anyway, which, as we all know, can be challenging at times. So that's what we called the program. But I'll be honest with you, the night before the program, I couldn't sleep. I was a wreck. That morning we woke up, I couldn't eat. The kids were walking into the combination cafeteria gym floor there, and I was in the bathroom about to throw up. I was a mess, right? So we start doing the program, and the kids were great. They were paying attention and listening, and so they made us feel very welcome. I didn't get all emotional and start boo-hooing in front of the kids, right? Everything was going just fine. But when we got to the end of the program, I honestly didn't know if they understood anything I'd said, you know. And because it was so stressful and full of, it was just, I just told myself, I said, I'm not ever doing that again. The rest of my life, that was very, very stressful, right? So I go over to the side and I start packing my stuff away, which was right there in that corner. And the kids got up out of the floor. They started exiting through the door, which was right there. While they were doing that, a little boy sitting right about here, just outside the picture, he got up and he starts making his way over to me. Brown hair, glasses. His name was Matthew. I know that because when he approached me, he stuck his hand out. He introduced himself. He said, Mister, can I tell you something? I said, well, sure. He said, I just want you to know that I think Chris is smiling today. Yeah. Oh, this is 13 years ago. I still can't tell it without getting to bed. And then he goes, and I hope you never stop sharing his story. Yeah. So now Dad and I get in the car to go home, and I'm trying to process that, right? And that was the day one positive sentence from a 9-year-old kid I didn't even know changed my whole world. I think sometimes we forget just how powerful our positive words are to people when we might catch them at the right time. So anyway, Dad and I get in the car, we go home. When we go home, Mom's waiting for us, right? Now, Mom didn't go to the program that day because it was a little too much too soon for her. She took care of Chris every day of his life for 41 years. She wanted to hear the program, but not yet. So she's sitting at home, and she wants to know how the program went. How'd the kids respond to Chris? So we walk in the door, and she's already smiling. We're like, what's going on? She said, go look at the computer. And we go over to the computer, and a handful of those little kids had sent messages on a blank form. None of them left their name. They just wrote messages. One of them said, I think your brother Chris is a hero. Another one said, I want to be more like Chris. But the one that got Mom and Dad said, I would like to thank Chris's mom and dad for taking care of him all those years, because without them, he may not have had a story. And that was the day. A couple positive messages on a computer, just like a lightning bolt, breathed life back into our whole family. It's just so powerful.